Anisphia, the first princess of the kingdom of Palatia, has always been fond of magic, but lacks the ability to use it herself. To compensate for this, she relies on her memories from a previous life on Earth to create various magical devices. Her ultimate aspiration is to fly through the sky on a magic broom. Unfortunately, this pursuit has turned her into a troublemaker who burdens her younger brother, Elgard, with her responsibilities. As part of his obligations, Elgard, the crown prince, is betrothed to Euphilia, the daughter of his father's advisor. Despite Euphilia's efforts to make their relationship work, there is no love between them. Recently, Elgard has developed an interest in Liney, a commoner turned noble. Eventually, the situation worsens when Euphilia asks Liney to end her relationship with Elgard for the sake of the kingdom. However, this request is misinterpreted as bullying, leading the crown prince to publicly cancel their engagement. In the midst of this turmoil, Anisphia crash lands after a failed flight experiment. Recognizing the circumstances, the princess abducts Euphilia to save her from further damage to her reputation, fleeing the scene hastily. Accompanying Euphilia to their parents, King Orphans and Prime Minister Grants, Anisphia delivers the shocking news of Elgard ending the engagement. As they contemplate Euphilia's uncertain future, Anisphia proposes taking her in as a research assistant, sharing the profits with her, albeit with an obvious struggle to conceal her romantic feelings. Despite this, Grants agrees, recognizing the opportunity to rebuild Euphilia's reputation, and he apologizes to his daughter for burdening her with unattainable expectations. Subsequently, Euphilia relocates to Anisphia's residence, known as the Separate Palace. While impressed by the princess's research achievements and their potential benefits for commoners, Euphilia worries about the reaction of the noble class to this challenge to their authority. Later, as they share a bed, Euphilia questions Anisphia about her profound willingness to help. In response, the princess confesses that she couldn't bear seeing Euphilia so devastated after the broken engagement and advises her to rest for the time being. After settling in with Anisphia, Euphilia continues to struggle with adjusting to her new life and feels a sense of purposelessness following the cancellation of her engagement. Anisphia attempts to foster a connection with her while experimenting with magical tools, but Euphilia remains emotionally distant. In the meantime, King Orphans and Prime Minister Grants initiate an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the broken engagement. Euphilia is summoned to provide testimony and, in doing so, relinquishes the privileges bestowed upon her through the engagement. Later, in an effort to uplift Euphilia's spirits, Anisphia presents her with a gift, an intricately crafted magical sword named Arkansile, designed exclusively for her. Expressing her gratitude for the gesture, Euphilia witnesses Anisphia collapsing due to exhaustion from working tirelessly on the sword, without rest. Tenderly, Euphilia allows Anisphia to rest her head on her lap while confessing her longing for the freedom that the princess embodies. Upon awakening, Anisphia discovers that Euphilia has also been suffering from sleep deprivation and carries her to bed. As they lie there, Euphilia expresses her profound emptiness and pleads with Anisphia to provide her with a purpose. In response, the princess calmly assures her that they will discover it together. The following day, Euphilia confides in Ilia, Anisphia's maid, about her struggles to find meaning beyond her assigned role. This prompts Ilia to share her own past challenges in searching for purpose. However, their conversation is interrupted when Anisphia receives a notice from the Adventurers Guild, an organization in which she holds a prominent position, informing her of a dragon sighting. With a desire to obtain the dragon's body for her research, Anisphia plans to confront it, and Euphilia insists on accompanying her. Meanwhile, the country's leaders convene an emergency meeting to discuss the dragon situation. Elgard, who has been under house arrest since the engagement was cancelled, proposes to confront the dragon personally in an attempt to prove himself. Recognizing his son's intentions, Orphans is on the verge of granting permission when he receives news that Anisphia and Euphilia have already embarked on the mission. Upon reaching the battlefield, Anisphia and Euphilia join forces with the adventurers and knights in battling a stampede caused by monsters fleeing from the dragon. Utilizing a magical medicine she created to enhance her strength, the princess cuts through the horde, making her way towards the dragon to confront it, while riding her magic broom. However, the dragon erects a protective magical barrier, rendering Anisphia's gadgets ineffective, and retaliates with a breath attack that brings her down. Fortunately, Eupholia comes to her rescue. Despite Eupholia's pleas for them to escape, Anisphia firmly believes that she must defeat the dragon to prove herself as a magician, causing Eupholia to change her mind and assist the princess. Together, they overcome the dragon's barrier and vanquish it by skillfully striking through its breath attack with a magic sword. After its defeat, the dragon telepathically congratulates Anisphia before seemingly transferring its own soul into her, bestowing upon her a curse. Subsequently, Anisphia and Eupholia attend a celebratory gathering, but the princess struggles to fit in while Eupholia feels uncomfortable in the presence of men due to the incident involving the cancelled engagement. Consequently, they opt to dance together on the balcony instead. Anisphia pays a visit to her research partner, Tilty, to discuss her intentions for the dragon materials she obtained. In order to prevent the encroachment of the dragon's curse on her, Anisphia enlists Tilty's help in tattooing these materials onto her back. This enables her to harness the magic while maintaining her humanity. Simultaneously, her mother, Sylphine, summons Anisphia to assist in the investigation regarding the cancellation of the engagement. During her questioning of one of Algerd's friends who supported him, Anisphia uncovers that he has no recollection of the incident. The following day, Laini and her father, Baron Drax, are brought in for interrogation. While Laini denies any romantic involvement with Elgard and gains the trust of King Orphans, Anisphia senses something amiss and privately speaks with Laini. Upon examining her, the princess comprehends the situation. Laini possesses a captivating charm that ensnares the hearts of others. Anisphia informs her parents of this discovery, leading to the decision for Laini to reside with Anisphia in order to learn how to control her ability. Elsewhere, Elgard engages in a conversation with Count Chartreuse, the Minister of Magic, discussing the need to accelerate their plans now that Laini's true nature has been exposed. Moving into the separate palace, Laini swiftly reconciles with Eupholia concerning her role in the engagement cancellation. Upon bringing Tilty to examine Laini, she and Anisphia promptly realize the source of her charm ability. She is a vampire, a race created by a deranged magician's pursuit of immortality. While they successfully teach her to control her ability, it also triggers her blood cravings, which Ilia helps alleviate by allowing her to feed on her own blood. Meanwhile, witnessing the effective collaboration between Tilty and Anisphia, Eupholia becomes envious. Tilty responds by informing her that, now that her reputation has been restored after the battle with the dragon, she must decide whether to fully support Anisphia or not at all. Later, Anisphia is asked to deliver a lecture on her inventions. However, the audience, composed of nobles opposed to her research, continually mocks her. Fortunately, Eupholia steps in as the spokesperson and persuades everyone of the benefits that the princess gadgets could bring. She then unveils a design for a mass-produced version of Anisphia's flying broom, leaving Anisphia feeling grateful to her for defending her. A sudden alarm at the separate palace indicates an intrusion into the residence. Ilia and Laini attempt to escape, but are intercepted by the intruder, who turns out to be Elgard. Meanwhile, during the post-lecture party, Anisphia is constantly annoyed by Moritz Chartreuse, one of Elgard's friends who attended the presentation, attempting to engage her in conversation. However, when the alarm sounds, the princess realizes that the lecture was a diversion. She hurries back with Eupholia while Tilty immobilizes the guards using her magic. Upon their arrival, Anisphia and Eupholia discover Ilia and Laini critically injured at the hands of Elgard. He had removed the magic crystal, which is the source of Laini's powers, from her body and inserted it into himself to become a vampire as well. While Eupholia uses her magic to heal Ilia and Laini, Anisphia questions Elgard's motives. He reveals his intention to initiate a revolution and overthrow the corrupt kingdom. Recognizing that her brother is driven by an inferiority complex towards her, Anisphia rejects his vision and prepares to confront him in order to thwart his plans. Anisphia engages in a confrontation with Elgard, but she gradually feels the mounting pressure. Meanwhile, Eupholia continues to heal Ilia and Laini, but Laini's injuries prove to be too severe. Fortunately, Ilia forcefully feeds the vampire her blood, leading to her regeneration. As for Anisphia, utilizing her newly acquired dragon magic, she turns the tide of the battle and is on the verge of delivering the final blow, but Eupholia intervenes. With Elgard yielding, the siblings engage in a heartfelt conversation during which the prince confesses that he always knew Anisfia would make a superior ruler and resented his magic-obsessed country for rejecting her. In the aftermath, Elgard fully accepts responsibility for his crimes, and Orphans disowns him. The truth behind the cancellation of the engagement incident is finally unveiled. It was part of a scheme orchestrated by Count Chartreuse to manipulate influential nobles through Lainey's charm. On the day of Algard's banishment from the palace, Eupholia and Lainey confront him. Ultimately, Lainey forgives him, and both he and Eupholia acknowledge their roles in the deterioration of their relationship. Elgard requests Eupholia to take care of Anisfia before departing, and then the young woman returns to the bedside of the recovering princess. After Elgard's disinheritance, Anisfia finds herself reluctantly becoming the de facto heir to the throne, a position she reluctantly accepts. Despite Eupholia offering her assistance, Anisfia remains firm in her belief that it is not her concern. Tilty, however, becomes furious when she observes Anisfia putting on a facade of happiness while resigning herself to her royal duties. Eupholia begins to grasp Tilty's perspective after accompanying Anisfia on a trip to town and witnessing the princess laboratory being cleared out. She realizes that if Anisfia becomes queen, her freedom will be curtailed, and she will be unable to pursue her research. Encountering her father, Grant, Eupholia confronts him about her desire for Anisfia to not be forced onto the throne. Grant reveals that there is a solution, but their conversation is interrupted by the sudden arrival of a mysterious girl named Lumiel. Lumiel discloses that the kingdom's first king made a pact with a powerful spirit, and Eupholia possesses the qualifications to enter into a similar covenant, thus making her eligible for the throne if she succeeds. However, as a spirit covenanter herself, Lumiel opposes this idea and shares a tale in an attempt to dissuade Eupholia. While Anisfia grapples with the challenge of gaining the support of the nobles, she receives a summons from Eupholia to meet with their parents and Lumiel. During the meeting, Eupholia discloses that she possesses the qualifications for a spirit covenant and plans to pursue it on the condition that the king adopts her, thus enabling her to inherit the throne. Although Anisfia objects after learning from Lumiel that spirit covenanters are immortal and condemned to a life of solitude, Eupholia remains resolute in her determination to protect the Princess Smile. However, Anisfia becomes angered by Eupholia's attempt to steal her identity, and flees in tears, only to be discovered by Tilty. At Tilty's side, Anisfia opens up about her enduring sense of being an outcast, prompting Tilty to suggest they run away. However, Anisfia declines, citing her status as a princess. Subsequently, Eupholia arrives and engages in a heartfelt conversation with Anisfia, during which the princess confesses her long-standing envy of the magical prodigy and laments her own perceived failure as a royal. Ultimately, Anisfia remains steadfast in her refusal to relinquish her rightful position or sacrifice Eupholia's humanity. With neither willing to back down, Anisfia proposes settling their dispute through a duel. The two engage in an intense duel, wielding swords and casting spells, each expressing a desire to spare the other from the burden of becoming queen. Amidst the duel, Eupholia successfully completes her spirit covenant, eliminating Anisfia's motive to fight. Using a rainbow beam, Eupholia emerges as the victor, and she acknowledges that Anisfia was the catalyst for her own strength. Anisfia offers her apologies to her parents, but they respond with pride. Later, Anisfia pays a visit to Eupholia's bedroom, revealing her past life on Earth and expressing concerns about potentially being an imposter who erased the true Anisfia's soul. Eupholia reassures her that this is not the case and proceeds to confess her love, sealing it with a kiss. The following day, the king and queen abdicate the throne, appointing Eupholia as the new queen, entrusting Anisfia with her care. They unveil their plans to democratize magic and dissolve the boundaries between commoners and nobles. Collaborating together, they commission the creation of flying machines. Eupholia presents Anisfia with a magical sword named Celestial. During a demonstration of the flying machines, they reveal garments that grant the ability to fly and showcase impressive displays of magic. A narration remarks that by promoting equality, Eupholia became the final queen. Later, as they share breakfast and prepare for a meeting, Eupholia affectionately kisses Anisfia and playfully teases her about her shyness towards public displays of affection.
I hope you liked the recap. If so, don't forget to subscribe and like it.